2,832 days, 1 Air Force officer, 0 communication with command. 8 years surviving in territory where average captured American lasted 14 months. The Pentagon declared him lost in action in 1967. In 1973, he walked across the Thai border carrying documents that changed Vietnam War intelligence protocols. Here's how he survived what no prisoner of war manual ever planned for. February 11th, 1966, 14:47 hours, 47 miles northwest of Chepon, Laos, deep inside Pathet Lao controlled territory with 0 American ground presence. Captain Dieter Dengler, age 27, U.S. Navy A-1H Skyraider pilot, reconnaissance mission over Ho Chi Minh Trail supply route. Dengler's situational awareness: 1 parachute, survival kit with 3 days rations, .38 revolver with 12 rounds. Enemy below: estimated 6,000 Pathet Lao troops within 20-mile radius. Standard protocol: evade until rescue helicopter arrives within 6 to 8 hours. Dengler's parachute hadn't finished descending before he saw them. 14 soldiers, AK-47s raised, surrounding his landing zone. No rescue helicopter was coming. What he didn't know: his emergency beacon had failed on ejection. What neither Dengler nor his captors knew: CIA intelligence had intercepted Pathet Lao radio traffic 3 weeks prior. Directive from command: any captured American pilot to be transferred immediately to interrogation facility at Hoi Het, then to Hanoi for propaganda use. But the order contained one exception. Pilots captured in specific grid coordinates, Dengler's exact location, were to be held locally. The reasons stayed buried in classified files for 52 years. CIA believed high-value North Vietnamese target was using that area as temporary base. They wanted him isolated from Hanoi's intelligence apparatus. Dengler would spend 8 years in a prison the Pentagon didn't know existed. Only thing standing between systematic harsh treatment in Hanoi and perishing from jungle exposure: a village prison camp holding 6 prisoners, 4 Americans, 2 Thai, guarded by 12 Pathet Lao soldiers who had orders that changed everything. Local commander's directive: keep prisoners alive for future propaganda value. That phrase bought Dengler time, but it also meant something darker. As long as the war continued, the prisoners had value. The moment peace talks succeeded, that value would evaporate. They were scheduled for elimination the day any ceasefire was announced. This survival stayed buried in Joint Personnel Recovery Agency files for 45 years. The tactics Dengler used violated every instruction in Code of Conduct training: cooperation with captors, voluntary intelligence disclosure, and what Pentagon investigators later called unprecedented fraternization with enemy personnel for survival advantage. Air Force Survival School explicitly forbid these methods. Instructors called them guaranteed paths to treason charges or elimination. This account draws from declassified Defense POW MIA accounting agency documents released between 2015 and 2019 and preserves an important chapter of Cold War survival resistance history. Understanding long-term POW survival provides insight into human endurance and adaptation under extreme conditions. To understand how Dengler survived what the Pentagon considered impossible, we need to go back to Wildberg, Germany, 1938. Dieter Dengler tried to enlist in the U.S. Air Force twice. Rejected both times. Reason: age 18, non-citizen, German immigrant. No path to pilot training for foreign nationals in 1956. Recruitment officer note: Hamilton Air Force Base, September 1956. Applicant demonstrates excessive enthusiasm for combat aviation. Recommend denial: foreign national with unclear motivations. The irony would become clear later. That excessive enthusiasm was the only thing keeping him alive when starvation dropped his body weight to 98 pounds. Dengler wasn't chasing glory. He was chasing a specific image burned into his 7-year-old mind: an American P-47 Thunderbolt fighter that flew 50 feet over his house in Wildberg, during an Allied bombing run in 1945. The pilot had looked directly at him through the canopy. Dengler saw the man's face, saw him choose not to strafe the civilian area. That moment in 1945 created singular obsession: become American military aviator. The rejection in 1956 didn't stop him. It redirected him. San Francisco City College became Dengler's next step. Studied tool and die making, practical skill that would prove critical in prison camp. Worked night shifts at factory, saved money. Applied for citizenship, reapplied to Air Force in 1957. Accepted, but not as pilot. Assignment: aircraft mechanic, Hamilton Air Force Base. The recruiting officer who'd rejected him supervised his training. The man never apologized. Dengler never mentioned it. He paid attention to patterns instead, watched pilots pre-flight aircraft, memorized procedures, asked questions mechanics weren't supposed to ask. Why do pilots check fuel mixture at this altitude? What's the stall speed in landing configuration? Pilots noticed. One, Lieutenant Commander Herman, carrier-qualified Navy aviator, asked Dengler, "Why aren't you flying?" "They said I wasn't officer material." Herman laughed. "The Marines said that about me too. Then I joined Navy." In 1959, Dengler transferred to Naval Aviation Training Program, Pensacola, Florida. Age 21, 3 years behind his original timeline, but now American citizen with mechanical knowledge that exceeded most pilot candidates. Flight instructors noted unusual trait: Dengler deliberately practiced emergency procedures beyond required minimums, simulated engine failures, practiced forced landings on every cross-country flight, requested extra sessions in altitude chamber to understand hypoxia symptoms. Training Officer Evaluation, June 1962. Ensign Dengler demonstrates excessive caution regarding survival scenarios. Recommend psychological evaluation. Fixation on worst-case outcomes may indicate unsuitability for combat aviation. Dengler read the evaluation. His response to the training officer: "In Germany, I watched Americans bomb my town for 2 years. The pilots who survived were the ones who planned for everything going wrong." He received his wings July 1962. By 1964, he'd accumulated 200 carrier landings, considered minimum for combat deployment. February 1966, he deployed aboard USS Ranger to Yankee Station in the Gulf of Tonkin. Dengler didn't know it yet, but February 11, 1966 would prove his excessive caution had been preparation, not paranoia. By February 1966, air war over Laos reached crisis point. Pathet Lao forces were downing American aircraft at rate of 1.7 per week. First 8 weeks of 1966, 14 aircraft destroyed, 11 pilots lost or captured. Quantified losses: 127 aircraft destroyed over Laos since 1964. 89 pilots confirmed lost. 34 pilots captured. Average survival in captivity 14 months before succumbing to disease, malnutrition, or elimination. 0 successful escapes from Pathet Lao territory. At that rate, Air Force projected complete loss of experienced attack pilots for Laos operations within 11 months. Conventional solutions failed. Solution 1: increase combat search and rescue coverage. Result: 73% of downed pilots in Laos terrain beyond helicopter range. Rescue attempts drew heavy ground fire. Solution 2: restrict flights to areas with rapid rescue capability. Result: eliminated 60% of interdiction missions against Ho Chi Minh Trail. Solution 3: provide pilots with enhanced survival kits. Result: additional weight reduced fuel load, limiting combat radius. None addressed fundamental problem. Laos terrain, triple canopy jungle, karst limestone mountains, 0 roads, made rescue impossible beyond 15-mile radius from Thai border. American pilots flying these missions faced statistical certainty. Get shot down more than 15 miles inside Laos, you weren't coming home. Mission briefing, USS Ranger, February 11th, 1966, 0630 hours. Commander Air Group, Armed Reconnaissance, Route 165, Northwest Chepone. Target, truck park and storage facility. Intelligence indicates 40 to 60 vehicles, likely POL dump nearby. Weather, ceiling 800 feet, visibility 2 miles in haze. Monsoon season. Low clouds made visual bombing difficult, forced aircraft into range of ground fire. Dengler's A-1H Skyraider carried the standard deep strike loadout, 4 20mm cannons with 800 rounds, and a firepower to turn a truck convoy into scrap metal in a single pass. 6 500-pound bombs hung under the wings. Their weight reduced his climb rate, but gave him devastating punch against hardened targets. 2 external fuel tanks extended his mission endurance to 6.4 hours, critical for missions this deep into enemy territory. 47 miles inside Laos meant he'd be flying on fumes by the time he crossed back into Thailand, and clipped to his survival vest an ANURT-33 emergency beacon. The device would transmit his location to rescue helicopters if he went down. Dengler checked it during pre-flight. Green light, functioning normally. What he didn't know, faulty capacitor design meant these beacons failed in jungle humidity 40% of the time. His life would depend on electronics that worked 3 out of 5 attempts, if he was lucky. The A-1H had one critical advantage over the F-4 Phantoms and F-105 Thunder Chiefs flying these missions. It could fly slow. Jets couldn't throttle back enough to spot camouflaged trucks under triple canopy jungle. The Skyraider could drop to 180 knots and visually acquire targets hidden in foliage. But slow meant vulnerable. More time in range of ground fire. More time meant higher probability someone would get lucky with a 37mm shell. The mission briefing included one detail that should have aborted the flight. Intelligence officer. CSAR coverage limited today. Helicopters grounded at Nakhon Phanom due to weather. If you go down, you're outside immediate rescue radius. Recommend abort if hit. Squadron commander paused. Looked at the map. The target sat 47 miles inside Laos. If helicopter launched from Thai border, it would take 43 minutes to reach downed pilot, assuming weather cleared, assuming pilot survived landing, assuming beacon functioned. He looked at the 6 pilots. Your call. Mission's important, but not worth your life if you go down. 5 pilots stood. Dengler was first. 0847 hours. Dengler's Skyraider crossed into Laotian airspace at 8,500 feet. His wingman, Lieutenant Meredith, flew 300 yards to his right. Below, unbroken green canopy. No visible roads, no villages. Just jungle and karst peaks breaking through clouds. The target was supposed to be at coordinates X-ray Delta 847392. Dengler descended to 1,200 feet. Clouds forced him lower. 800 feet, 600 feet. He found the truck park at 550 feet. 18 vehicles under camouflage netting between 2 limestone ridges. Exactly where intelligence said. Dengler rolled in for bombing run, dove to 400 feet, released 2 500-pound bombs, pulled up through his own explosion debris. Then he saw what intelligence hadn't reported. Hidden 200 yards east, anti-aircraft position, 4 37mm guns, crews tracking his climb. Dengler transmitted, taking fire, braking left. The 37mm shell hit his right engine cowling. The Skyraider's single radial engine seized instantly. Oil pressure dropped to 0. Propeller windmilling. Airspeed decaying. 200 knots. 180. 160. Standard doctrine: glide to Thai border if possible, eject over flat terrain if not possible. Dengler calculated glide ratio 10:1 at best. Current altitude 850 feet, distance to border 47 miles. He couldn't glide 47 miles. He had maybe 4 miles before forced landing. He aimed for small valley between ridges. Wheels up, flaps down. Airspeed 95 knots at touchdown. The Skyraider hit trees at 80 knots, sheared both wings, tumbled forward, came to rest inverted. Dengler unbuckled, climbed out through shattered canopy, checked for injuries. Left shoulder dislocated, multiple lacerations, possible rib fractures. He activated emergency beacon. Red light indicated transmission, but he didn't know the impact had cracked the beacon's antenna housing. Signal strength 40% of normal. Effective range 8 miles instead of 20. Rescue helicopters were 47 miles away. They would never receive his signal. Dengler heard voices, Laotian language, coming from 2 directions. He grabbed survival kit, started running uphill toward thicker jungle. He ran for 6 minutes. 14 soldiers emerged from the forest ahead of him, AK-47s raised. The youngest, maybe 16 years old, gestured with rifle barrel. Hands up. Dengler raised his hands. The soldiers moved in. They took his .38 revolver, his survival kit, his watch, his boots, bound his wrists with wire. One soldier, older, squad leader, spoke French. Américain, pilote, tu es prisonnier. The march began immediately. North, away from Thai border, deeper into Pathet Lao territory. What Dengler didn't know, he was walking toward a prison camp that wasn't on any American intelligence map, a place where 6 men were waiting, 4 Americans, 2 Thai, who had been told by their captors that no more prisoners would arrive. The camp was at capacity. The guards had specific orders about capacity problems. The march took 4 days. The soldiers walked Dengler 23 hours per day, stopped only for guard changes and minimal rest. No food, water from streams, wire bindings cut into his wrists, blood loss, dehydration. His dislocated shoulders swelled, fever set in. On day 3, Dengler collapsed. The squad leader, the one who spoke French, knelt beside him. Tu marches ou tu meurs ici. The meaning was clear enough. You walk or you perish here. Dengler walked. February 15th, 1966, approximately 1600 hours. The squad arrived at the village prison camp. Dengler's first impression, this wasn't a military installation. It was a jungle clearing with 6 bamboo huts, one larger structure for guards, and a makeshift fence of sharpened bamboo stakes. No watchtowers, no formal perimeter, no infrastructure. This wasn't designed to hold prisoners. It was designed to hide them. 6 men sat in the clearing, hands bound behind their backs with vine rope, their feet locked in wooden stocks, crude devices that prevented walking but not sitting. All 6 emaciated, hollow eyes, skin stretched over visible ribs. The oldest prisoner looked at Dengler, spoke in perfect American English. They told us no more were coming. What's your name? Captain Dieter Dengler, Navy, shot down February 11th. The man nodded slowly. Lieutenant Dwayne Martin, Air Force, shot down September 20th, 1965, 5 months. Martin had been here 5 months. The other prisoners introduced themselves. Lieutenant Junior Grade Jean de Bruin, Navy A-1 pilot, shot down September 5th, 1963, 29 months in captivity. Bisidi Indradat, Thai Air Force, shot down September 1963 with de Bruin, 29 months. YC To, Thai Air Force, shot down June 1965, 8 months. Prasit Promsoan, Thai Air Force, shot down October 1965, 4 months. Proset Anuichai, Thai Air Force, shot down December 1965, 2 months. De Bruin was the senior prisoner. He'd survived 29 months, double the average. When Dengler asked how, de Bruin pointed at his temple. You stay alive up here first. Body follows if your mind decides to live. The camp routine was simple. Survive each day. Repeat. Daily rations. 1 handful of rice. Sometimes 3 ounces of dried fish. Sometimes nothing. Water from stream 50 yards outside camp perimeter. Guards escorted prisoners twice daily for water runs. The guards rotated on a regular schedule. 12 Pathet Lao soldiers, but only 6 on duty at any time. They lived in the larger structure, cooked their food, fish, rice, vegetables, in front of the prisoners. Psychological tactic. The smell was agony. Prisoners slept in bamboo huts, 2 men per hut, no blankets. Temperature dropped to 55 degrees Fahrenheit at night. Not freezing, but enough to prevent sleep when you weighed 110 pounds and had 0 body fat. They were shackled at night, feet in stocks, hands bound behind backs. De Bruin explained, they unbind you in morning. That's when you move. Exercise. Keep circulation going. If you don't move in the morning, you'll lose the ability to walk. The Pathet Lao camp commander filed his assessment report on February 15th, 1966. The documents surfaced in captured archives 9 years later during the fall of Vientiane. Translation from Lao. New American prisoner arrived today. Navy pilot shot down 4 days ago. Condition: dislocated shoulder, multiple lacerations, severe malnourishment from forced march. Physical assessment: weak constitution, will not survive upcoming monsoon season. Survival estimate: 60 days maximum, possibly less if shoulder infection worsens. Recommendation: allocate minimal food resources to this prisoner. Prioritize rations for prisoners with longer projected survival. The commander had made his calculation based on previous American prisoners. Of the 11 Americans held in this camp since 1963, 7 hadn't survived. Average survival, 14 months. Dengler arrived injured, malnourished, feverish. The commander gave him 2 months. What the commander didn't know, Dengler had spent 1945 in post-war Germany, scavenging calories from bombed-out ruins. He'd survived on 400 calories per day for 6 months as a 7-year-old child. His body understood starvation at cellular level. More critically, his mind understood that survival wasn't about waiting for rescue helicopters that would never come. It was about outlasting his captor's patience, day by day, meal by meal, breath by breath. Dengler's first night in the stocks. His dislocated shoulder screamed. The fever had intensified. He couldn't sleep. Around 0300 hours, he heard whisper from adjacent hut. "You awake?" De Bruyn's voice. "Yeah, good. Need to tell you something. Don't try to escape alone. 4 men tried since I've been here. All lost within 3 days. Jungle ends you faster than bullets. What about together?" Long pause. "We tried once. March 1964. 3 of us. Guards caught us 8 hours later. They beat Pathet so badly he lost hearing in left ear. Then they reduced rations by half for 2 months. 5 prisoners back then. 2 didn't survive the punishment period. So we wait for rescue?" Another pause. Longer this time. "Captain, I'm going to tell you something, and you're going to think I'm trying to destroy your hope. I'm not. I'm trying to save your life. No rescue is coming. Not for me, not for you. This camp doesn't exist on any American map. When you were shot down, they declared you lost in action. Your family already had memorial service." Dengler lay in the dark. Calculated timeline. Captured February 11th. Today, February 15th. 4 days. In 4 days, Pentagon protocol declared him missing in action. In 30 days, they'd upgrade status to presumed lost in action. His wife would receive notification. She was 7 months pregnant with their first child. She would believe he was gone. He made decision then. Not escape plan, not survival strategy, just decision. If his son was going to grow up without father, it wouldn't be because father gave up. Dengler spent first 2 weeks observing. The guards followed predictable patterns. Morning routine, 0600 to 0630. 2 guards unbind prisoners, escort to stream for water. Midday, 1200 to 1300. Guard change. 6 soldiers rotate out, 6 rotate in. Evening feeding, 1800 hours. 1 guard distributes rice while others eat their meal. Night lockdown, 1900 hours. Guards shackle all prisoners, retire to guard hut. Night watch, 1900 to 0600. 2 guards on duty, rotating every 4 hours, but they didn't patrol. They stayed in hut playing cards. The vulnerability was obvious. Between 1900 and 0600, 11 hours where guards stayed inside hut. If prisoners could free themselves from the stocks quietly, they'd have 3-hour head start before morning check. But De Bruyn was right. Escaping wasn't the problem. Surviving afterward was. Dengler started asking questions. Not about escape, about the jungle. To YC2, the Thai pilot who'd grown up in northern Thailand. What can you eat in jungle? Bamboo shoots if you cook them. Raw bamboo has cyanide compounds. Certain palm hearts, termites have protein. Avoid red berries, poisonous. Water from vines if you cut them correctly. To Prasit Promsuwan, how do you navigate without compass? Moss grows on north side of trees. Streams flow downhill toward larger rivers. Follow rivers west, you hit Thailand eventually. But it's 90 miles through Pathet Lao territory, and you leave tracks they follow easily. To De Bruyn, who'd been studying the guards, how many rounds do they carry? Each AK-47 has 30-round magazine. They carry 1 spare magazine each. Total, 60 rounds per guard. 12 guards, 720 rounds total. But they're not worried about ammunition conservation. The village is 3 miles north. They resupply weekly. 3 months into his imprisonment, De Bruyn had been gathering intelligence for 29 months. He'd learned Lao language. He listened to guard conversations. He'd pieced together their orders.
"Here's what I know," De Bruyn explained during water run in March. "Guards were 20 yards away, couldn't hear. We're not prisoners of war, we're intelligence assets. Hanoi wants American pilots for propaganda, forced confessions, anti-war statements. But Pathet Lao command doesn't trust Hanoi. They're keeping us as leverage. Leverage for what? If war ends badly for Pathet Lao, They trade us to North Vietnam for safe passage to China. If war ends badly for North Vietnam, they trade us to China directly for political asylum. We're their insurance policy. How long does insurance policy last? De Bruyne looked at him. Until it's cheaper to eliminate us than feed us. Or until ceasefire is announced and our propaganda value drops to zero. What none of the prisoners knew, peace talks had already begun in Paris. Preliminary negotiations, nothing formal yet, but CIA intelligence analysts were projecting possible ceasefire announcement by late 1967 or early 1968. The camp commander had received classified directive in January 1966, 1 month before Dengler arrived. In event of ceasefire announcement, liquidate all prisoners immediately. No witnesses to camp existence. The prisoners had between 18 and 24 months before that order would be executed. Dengler was learning to survive day by day. He didn't know he was racing against diplomatic clock that was already counting down. Dengler's survival strategy evolved into 3 components. Component 1, physical maintenance. Despite starvation rations, he exercised. Morning unbinding was his window. 20 minutes before guards reassembled prisoners, he did bodyweight squats, 50 repetitions, push-ups against ground, 30 repetitions, shoulder rotations, 100 repetitions, to rehabilitate dislocated shoulder. Other prisoners watched him like he was insane. Burning calories when you're getting 600 calories per day seemed suicidal. Dengler explained, muscle atrophy makes you weak. Weak means you can't escape when opportunity comes. I'm not exercising to stay healthy. I'm exercising to stay capable.
Component 2, guard manipulation. Dengler started learning Lao phrases, basic greetings, thank yous. The guards noticed. One, younger soldier, maybe 19, started teaching him more words. The others mocked the young guard. Why teach condemned American? But the young guard liked having someone to talk to. Dengler used this. What's your name? Dengler asked in broken Lao. Bound me. Where are you from? Bound me. Savankat, rice farmer family. Do you want to be soldier? Bound me paused, looked around to ensure no other guards were listening. No, I want to be rice farmer, but government conscripted me. I fight or they eliminate my family. That conversation taught Dengler critical insight. Half the guards didn't want to be here. They were conscripts. They weren't ideologically committed. They were trapped. That meant they might make mistakes. Component 3, escape route planning. De Bruyne's previous escape attempt had failed because they had no plan beyond run into jungle and hope for Thailand. Dengler proposed different approach. He'd flown reconnaissance missions over this terrain. He'd studied maps. He knew where the Thai border was, 93 miles west-southwest. We don't run blindly, Dengler explained to De Bruyne and Martin. We plan route following rivers. Rivers flow west toward the Mekong. The Mekong is the border. We acquire tools first. Knife for cutting bamboo, container for water, fire-starting materials. We cache supplies outside camp before escape. How do you acquire tools when guards watch us constantly? We don't steal, we trade. Trade what? We have nothing. Dengler smiled. We have something they want. Information. The plan forming in Dengler's mind violated every principle in code of conduct. Cooperate with the enemy for personal advantage, provide intelligence voluntarily, fraternize with captors. But Dengler calculated. Code of conduct assumed you'd be rescued eventually, or held in formal POW camp with Red Cross oversight, or exchanged during prisoner swap. None of those applied here. This camp didn't exist. No rescue was coming. No exchange was possible. Survival required different rules. April 1966. Dengler had been imprisoned for 7 weeks. His weight had dropped from 157 pounds to 126, but he was still functional. The shoulder had healed. He could walk, run, climb. The camp commander, Captain Dieter, noticed that Dengler was surviving better than previous American prisoners. This created problem. Food rations were calculated for prisoners who would succumb within 14 months. Dengler showed no signs of imminent decline. Dieter called Dengler to guard hut, spoke through interpreter. You are pilot. You know American air bases in Thailand. Draw a map. Standard interrogation demand. Code of conduct response. Name, rank, serial number only. But Dengler made calculation. He knew location of every airbase in Thailand. It wasn't classified. Thai bases were openly discussed in newspapers. Giving information that wasn't secret cost him nothing. More importantly,
It established pattern. Dengler would cooperate if he got something in return. Dengler drew map, accurate, every airbase, runways, approximate aircraft types. Vong Fachan studied it. How many aircraft at Udorn? Approximately 60 F-4 Phantoms, 20 rescue helicopters, various support aircraft. At Takli, approximately 70 F-105 Thunder Chiefs. At Karat, approximately 50 F-4s, 25 F-105s. Vong Fachan seemed satisfied. He dismissed Dengler. 3 days later, guard Boundme approached during water run, handed Dengler a small folding knife. Commander says you earned trust. You can use this to cut bamboo for better sleeping mat. The knife's blade was 3 inches, dull, but it was a tool. Dengler had established a precedent. Cooperation bought privileges. Over next 3 months, Dengler provided information carefully calibrated to be valuable but not damaging. Aircraft performance specifications, available in any aviation magazine. Airbase locations, non-classified. Standard bombing procedures, known to anyone who'd read tactical manuals.
Each disclosure bought small privilege, extra rations, 1 additional handful of rice weekly, better sleeping location, bamboo hut with fewer mosquitoes, permission to keep knife. De Bruin watched this with growing concern. During whispered conversation in June, he confronted Dengler. You're collaborating. I'm surviving. There's difference between surviving and betraying your oath. Jean, I'm not giving them anything that helps them shoot down more aircraft. I'm trading public information for tools we need to escape. You've been here 33 months. I've been here 4 months. My way got me knife. Your way got you 33 months in stocks. Pathet Lao Intelligence Report, June 1966. Document recovered 1975. Translated from Lao. American prisoner Dengler demonstrates unusual psychology. Unlike previous Americans who maintain hostile silence, this prisoner volunteers information willingly. Assessment: possible intelligence officer attempting to gain trust for espionage purposes. Recommend increased surveillance. However, information provided has proven accurate and valuable for understanding American air operations. Prisoners' cooperation has improved camp morale among guards, reduces antagonism between captors and captives. Recommend continued exploitation of his willingness to cooperate. Updated survival estimate, 12 months. The Pathet Lao commander thought he was manipulating Dengler. Dengler was manipulating him. July 1966. Monsoon season intensified. Rain every day. Camp became mud pit. Fungal infections spread among prisoners. Prasit Promsuan developed serious respiratory infection. Pneumonia probably. No medical care. Guards told prisoners he will survive or he won't. We have no medicine. Prasit's fever reached 104 degrees Fahrenheit. Dengler watched him deteriorate. On the 5th day, Dengler approached Vong Fachan. I can help him. I have medical training, complete fabrication. Dengler had taken basic first aid course in the Navy, nothing more.
You are doctor? I am trained in emergency medicine. Another fabrication. Vong Fachan considered. What do you need? Clean water, cloth for cooling. If you have any antibiotics, even veterinary medicine for livestock. 2 hours later, guard brought boiled water, clean cloth, and small bottle of penicillin tablets. Expired veterinary antibiotics from village livestock supply. Dengler had no idea about proper dosage. He gave Prasit 1 tablet daily for 5 days. Whether it was the antibiotics, the fever breaking naturally, or pure fortune, Prasit survived. That intervention changed dynamic with guards. The younger soldiers, Boundme, 3 others, started viewing Dengler differently, not as enemy combatant, as human with useful skills. When one guard developed infected cut on his hand in August, he asked Dengler to look at it. Dengler cleaned the wound with boiled water, applied pressure to drain infection, told the guard, keep it clean, wash 3 times daily. The infection cleared. Vong Fachan noticed, called Dengler to guard hut. You are useful. This is good. Useful prisoners live longer. Then, Vong Fashan said something that revealed everything. War will end soon. Peace talks in Paris. When ceasefire is announced, valuable prisoners go to Hanoi for exchange, not valuable prisoners. He made a shooting gesture. Dengler understood. He had a deadline. When peace talks concluded, his usefulness would evaporate. He needed to escape before the ceasefire was announced. September 1966. Dengler gathered De Bruin, Martin, and the 4 Thai prisoners during morning water run. We have 4 months, maybe 6. Peace talks are progressing. When ceasefire happens, they'll eliminate us. We need to escape before that announcement. De Bruin objected. It's monsoon season. The jungle is impassable. Rivers are flooding. We'll perish before we reach Thailand. Then we wait for dry season, January or February. But we prepare now. Cache supplies, plan route, identify guard weaknesses.
Martin agreed. I'm in. I'm not waiting here to be eliminated. The 4 Thai prisoners exchanged glances. Pisiti Indradat spoke. We tried in 1964, failed, but staying means certain end. We try again. Only De Bruin hesitated. Jean, Dengler said quietly, you've survived 34 months by following rules. Those rules kept you alive, but they won't get you home. At some point, we have to risk perishing to avoid it. De Bruin finally nodded. Okay, but we do this smart. No rushing, no mistakes. We plan every detail. The conspiracy began. October 1966 through January 1967. Systematic preparation. Phase 1. Tool acquisition. Dengler's cooperation had earned privileges. He used them strategically. Requested stronger knife for cutting firewood. Guards provided machete blade, dull but sharpenable. Asked for metal container for carrying water during work details. Guards gave him old canteen. Traded information about American aircraft maintenance for small whetstones, ostensibly for sharpening bamboo stakes for fence repair. Each item was hidden. Machete blade, buried near stream 40 yards from camp, wrapped in leaves. Canteen, hidden in a hollow tree 60 yards north. Whetstones, concealed inside bamboo sleeping mat. Phase 2, physical conditioning. Despite starvation rations, all 6 prisoners began exercising during the morning unbinding period. Guards mocked them, American fools burning calories. But the real purpose wasn't strength, it was testing physical limits. Who could walk furthest? Who could climb fastest? Who had endurance for multi-day march? Results were sobering. De Bruin, 34 months captivity equals severe muscle atrophy. Estimated 5-mile maximum before collapse. Martin, 16 months captivity equals moderate endurance. Estimated 10-mile range. Proceed. Respiratory damage from pneumonia equals labored breathing. Estimated 7-mile maximum. Procès, youngest and strongest Thai prisoner, equals 12-mile estimated range. YC and PCD, moderate condition, estimated 8 to 10 miles. Dengler, 11 months captivity, maintained muscle through exercise, equals estimated 15-mile range. Calculation. Thailand was 93 miles. At maximum pace with rest stops, they'd need 6 to 7 days minimum. With starvation-weakened bodies, perhaps 10 days. They had to carry enough food and water for 10 days, or acquire it along route. Phase 3. Intelligence gathering. Martin and Dengler observed guard patterns obsessively. Key vulnerability discovered. During 0200 to 0600 guard shift, both guards usually fell asleep by 0400. They had been awake since previous afternoon and would be relieved at 0600. They believed prisoners in stocks couldn't escape, so they napped. Second vulnerability, guard weapon storage. At night, all AK-47s were stacked in guard hut corner, 6 rifles for 6 on-duty guards. If prisoners could enter hut while guards slept, they could take rifles before guards woke, but this required enormous risk. Enter hut, disarm guards, restrain them without noise, alerting off-duty guards sleeping in adjacent structure. De Bruin calculated, if we wake anyone, we face 12 armed soldiers in firefight. We have no training in room-clearing combat. This fails 90% of attempts. Dengler, we don't clear the room, we lock them inside. Phase 4. Route planning. Using intelligence from Thai prisoners who knew local geography, they mapped escape route. Day 1. West-southwest to Huesan River. Estimated 12 miles. Day 2-3, follow river west to Saibanghyang River confluence. Estimated 18 miles. Day 4-6,
Follow Sebangxiang west to Nam Ma River, estimated 28 miles. Day 7-10, follow Nam Ma west to Mekong River, Thailand border, estimated 35 miles. Total, 93 miles, all following rivers to prevent getting lost. The route deliberately avoided villages. Intelligence suggested 3 Pathet Lao villages along direct route, longer distance but reduced chance of recapture. February 1st, 1967. Dengler had been prisoner for 355 days. That morning, something changed. Vongpachan assembled prisoners in a clearing. Today, we move camp. You will be transferred to new facility. Dengler understood instantly. Moving prisoners reduced their intelligence about local terrain. It reset their escape planning. It meant someone in command structure suspected conspiracy. Worse, new facility likely meant closer to Hanoi or closer to elimination site. They had to escape tonight. No more preparation, no more planning. Tonight or never. That evening, during rice distribution, Dengler quietly signaled to each prisoner, "Tonight." De Bruyn looked terrified. Martin nodded. The Thai prisoners showed no reaction. Good operational discipline. The plan required perfect timing. 1900 hours. Guards shackle prisoners for night. Retired to guard hut. 0200 hours. Guard change. New shift begins. 0400 hours. Wait for guards to fall asleep. 0415 hours. Pick locks on stocks. Dengler had crafted a lockpick from wire 3 weeks prior. 0430 hours. Retrieve hidden weapons and tools. 0445 hours. Approach guard hut silently. 0500 hours. Lock guards inside the hut by jamming the door with bamboo stakes. 0505 hours. Take AK-47s from hut. 0515 hours. Begin movement west toward river. The plan required every step executing perfectly. One noise, one prisoner failing to pick lock, one guard staying awake. Any failure meant rounds or recapture. 2300 hours. Prisoners lay in stocks, hands bound, waiting. Dengler counted his heartbeat, 92 beats per minute. Too fast. He forced controlled breathing, visualized each step of escape. Mechanical procedure, like pre-flight checklist, one item at a time. His mind went to image that had sustained him through 355 days. His son, born while Dengler was imprisoned, 8 months old now, growing up without father. Dengler whispered into darkness, "Not today. Today, I'm coming home." If you're fascinated by this story of impossible survival and systematic escape planning against overwhelming odds, hit subscribe so you don't miss next week's deep dive into the single most successful POW escape in Vietnam War. 23 prisoners, 0 recapture. These historically accurate reconstructions take 40+ hours of declassified document research to verify every detail, and knowing you're out there makes that work worthwhile. 0400 hours. Guard hut went silent, both guards asleep. Dengler slowly extracted wire lockpick from inside his cheek. He'd been holding it there for 5 hours to keep it accessible. Hands bound behind back, he maneuvered the wire toward the simple wooden stock lock. The lock mechanism was crude, wooden peg through hole. If he could lift peg with wire, stock would open. First attempt, wire slipped. Second attempt, wire bent. Third attempt, peg lifted 2 millimeters. Not enough. Dengler's hands shook. Adrenaline, exhaustion, starvation. He forced them still. Fourth attempt, peg lifted 5 millimeters, 7 millimeters, 10 millimeters. The stock released. Dengler's feet were free, hands still bound. He contorted his body, flexibility from 11 months of painful stretching exercises, worked bound hands under his legs, forward to front of body. Teeth worked on wrist bindings. Vine rope, wet from sweat. He chewed through fibers for 4 minutes, hands free. He crawled to De Bruyn's hut, freed him, then Martin, then the 4 Thai prisoners, 7 men, free, silent.
They moved to hidden caches, retrieved machete, canteen, knife, 2 sharpened bamboo stakes. 0445 hours. They approached guard hut. Through bamboo wall gaps, Dengler could see both guards. Asleep, 6 AK-47s stacked in corner, 5 feet from nearest guard. Original plan, jam door shut, trap guards inside. But Merton whispered, "If we trap them, they'll shout.
Wake the other 6. We need the rifles. Dengler calculated. Entering hut required opening door. Loud creak. Retrieving rifles required crossing 6 feet of bamboo floor. Every step made noise. Probability of success, maybe 30%. But without rifles, they had 1 machete and 2 bamboo stakes against 12 soldiers with automatic weapons. If guards pursued, prisoners would be eliminated within first mile. They needed those rifles. Dengler made decision, gestured to Martin and Pathet. You two with me, others wait outside. He slowly lifted bamboo door latch. Hinges creaked. Both guards stirred, but didn't wake. Dengler froze. 10 seconds. 20 seconds. Guards resumed snoring. He entered, stepped on woven bamboo mat, quieter than bare floor, reached rifles, handed one to Martin, one to Pathet, took one himself. Then, second guard's eyes opened. The guard stared at Dengler, hand moved toward whistle on his neck chain, alarmed to wake other guards. Dengler raised AK-47, finger on trigger. The guard whispered in Lao, "Please, I have family." It was Bound Me, the young guard who'd taught Dengler Lao phrases, who'd given him the knife, who'd said he didn't want to be soldier. Dengler stood frozen. Code of conduct didn't cover this scenario, neither did survival instinct. This was just human decision. Dengler lowered rifle slightly, gestured, "Stay quiet." Bound Me nodded. Then first guard woke, saw prisoners, reached for rifle. Martin struck him with the stock of AK-47, a brutal blow to the temple. Guard collapsed unconscious. They secured both guards with vine rope, gagged them, and locked them in the hut from outside. But the damage was done. The blow had been loud.
Lights appeared in adjacent structure. Voices. Doors opening. Off-duty guards were waking. Dengler grabbed remaining 3 AK-47s, distributed to De Bruin, YC, and Pathet. 7 men, 6 rifles, machete for Pathet. They ran. The escape had gone from stealth operation to running firefight in 8 seconds. Behind them, shouting, guards emerging from barracks, rifle shots, muzzle flashes in darkness. Dengler fired burst toward guards, not aiming for elimination, aiming to suppress. Run towards the stream. The 7 prisoners crashed through the jungle. No path, no light. Vines caught feet, branches slashed faces. YC fell. Pathet pulled him up. They ran. More gunfire behind them, closer now. Guards organizing pursuit. Dengler realized they'd planned escape assuming 3-hour head start. Now they had maybe 3-minute head start. Everything had changed. February 2nd, 1967, 05:30 hours. The 7 prisoners ran west for 47 minutes before stopping at Hoi Seine River. Behind them, pursuing guards, Dengler could hear shouts. Distance, maybe 800 yards. Closing fast. De Bruin gasped, "We can't run anymore. Too weak." He was right. All 7 prisoners were exhausted. Starvation weakened bodies couldn't sustain sprint. Estimated maximum range, another 2 miles before collapse. Martin, we split up. Harder to track 7 individuals than one group. Tactical logic was sound, but it meant abandoning safety in numbers. They divided into 3 groups. Group 1, De Bruin, YC Toh, Pathet Anuachai, heading northwest. Group 2, Pathet Promsuan, Pathet Indradat, heading west. Group 3, Dengler, Dwayne Martin, heading southwest. They'd rendezvous at Mekong River, assuming anyone survived 93-mile journey. Dengler and Martin moved along riverbank. They had 2 AK-47s, machete, canteen, empty. They'd fill at river. 0 food. Estimated pursuit force, 12 guards plus reinforcements from village. We need 24-hour head start, Martin calculated. They're 4 hours behind us now. We need speed.
The pursuit lasted 6 days. The Pathet Lao guards tracked both groups relentlessly. Not because prisoners were valuable, they weren't. Because letting American pilots escape made guards look incompetent to their command. Failure to recapture meant punishment or elimination for guards themselves. They had personal motivation to bring prisoners back, one way or another. Pathet Lao After Action Report, February 8, 1967, document declassified 1998. Translated from Lao. Pursuit teams tracked escaped prisoners for 6 days. Results: Group 1, De Bruyne, YC, Prosset, intercepted February 5th at village near Myeongnong. YC To didn't survive recapture attempt. Prosset, Anyuachai, captured, later did not survive captivity beyond February 12th. De Bruyne's status unknown. Villagers reported seeing American prisoner moving west, but tracking lost in heavy rain. Group 2, Prasit, Pisiti, tracked to Sibangyong River, found abandoned equipment February 7th. Blood trail indicated injury. Both prisoners presumed lost from wounds or exposure. Group 3, Dengler, Martin, tracked to Nam Ma River region, lost contact February 8th. Extensive search yielded no evidence. Assessment: likely perished from starvation or drowned attempting river crossing. All escaped prisoners accounted for as lost or recaptured. Case closed. The Pathet Lao report was half right. Of 6 prisoners in groups 1 and 2, 1 didn't survive recapture, 1 didn't survive captivity, 4 missing presumed lost. But Dengler and Martin were still moving. Day 7, Day 8, Day 9. By Day 9 of the escape, their food situation was desperate. They ate what the jungle offered and prayed it wouldn't finish them faster than starvation. Termites scraped from rotting logs. Protein, technically. The texture made Dengler gag, but he forced them down. Martin couldn't keep them down the first 2 attempts.
Bamboo shoots boiled in stream water. Had to boil them. Raw bamboo contains cyanide compounds. YC had warned them, cook for at least 15 minutes or you'll convulse within 6 hours. They timed it by counting heartbeats. 1,500 heartbeats. Close enough. A small snake Martin managed to corner and hack apart with the machete. They ate it raw. Couldn't risk smoke from a fire. Pursuit teams were still out there. The meat was stringy, gamey, probably diseased. They ate it anyway. And roots they couldn't identify. Some looked like the safe varieties YC had described, some didn't. De Bruyne had warned months ago, red berries will stop your heart in 6 hours. Some roots, even faster. They ate them. Hunger erased caution. Stream water kept them hydrated, but carried its own price. Both men developed severe diarrhea within 2 days. Their bodies were expelling more fluid than they could replace. Dengler's weight dropped from 126 pounds to 98. Martin estimated he was down to 95. On day 12, Martin said, "I can't walk anymore. Legs are done." Dengler, "Then we rest today, walk tomorrow." But they both knew, without food, they had maybe 5 days before physical collapse made movement impossible. February 14th, 1967, day 13 of escape. Dengler and Martin reached Nam Ma River, the final barrier before Thailand. The river was 40 yards wide, current moderate but dangerous for weakened swimmers. Martin, "I can't swim this." Then we build raft. They spent 6 hours constructing crude bamboo raft using vines and machete. The raft was barely buoyant, supported maybe 120 pounds. They weighed combined 193 pounds. They'd have to cross separately, one at a time, meaning one person would be alone on the far bank while other crossed. Dengler crossed first. Current pulled raft downstream. He paddled desperately, reached far bank 60 yards downstream from starting point. He signaled Martin, "Your turn." Martin pushed raft back across river. Current carried it 80 yards downstream before Martin could grab it. He climbed onto raft, started paddling. Halfway across, the vines binding raft loosened. Bamboo poles separated. The raft disintegrated. Martin went under. Dengler ran along riverbank, saw Martin's surface 100 yards downstream, flailing, not swimming, drowning. Dengler jumped in, swam toward Martin. Current pulled both of them downstream. Dengler grabbed Martin's collar, kicked toward bank. Current was winning. They were moving toward rapids visible another 200 yards ahead, whitewater that would eliminate them both. Dengler's hand hit submerged log. He grabbed it, held Martin with other hand, pulled them both to log. They clung to log for 11 minutes while current pushed them toward bank. Eventually, shallow water. They crawled onto mud. Both vomited river water. Both hypothermic. Both completely exhausted. They lay on riverbank for 3 hours, unable to move. When Dengler finally sat up, he assessed. "We're on West Bank. Thailand is maybe 20 miles. We're out of food, out of strength, out of time." Martin was unconscious, breathing shallow.
Dengler made calculation. If he stayed with Martin, they'd both perish here. If he left Martin and moved alone, maybe he could reach Thailand and send rescue back. But code of conduct was clear. Never abandon fellow prisoner. Dengler stayed. February 15, 1967. Dawn. Martin still unconscious. Dengler heard sound. Distant. Mechanical. Helicopter. American helicopter. He recognized the rotor blade sound. A UH-1 Huey coming from west. From Thailand. The rescue helicopter he'd been praying for 374 days ago, back when he was shot down, was finally here. But they were in heavy jungle. Helicopter couldn't see them, and Dengler was too weak to signal effectively. The helicopter sound faded west. Dengler left Martin, climbed to ridge above river, looked west, saw a helicopter 2 miles away, banking south, about to turn back toward Thailand.
He had nothing. No flare, no radio, no signal panel. His AK-47 was lost in river crossing. He took off his torn shirt, whitish color from mud. He waved it frantically. The helicopter continued turning away. Then it stopped, reversed direction, came back. Someone had seen the movement. The UH-1 Huey approached, door gunner visible. He was aiming M60 machine gun at Dengler, assuming hostile combatant. Dengler threw shirt down, raised hands, shouted in English, "American, American pilot, don't shoot." Helicopter circled. Door gunner kept weapon trained on him. Then crew chief leaned out, hand signal, come toward clearing. Dengler stumbled toward open area, fell, got up, fell again, crawled final 20 yards. Helicopter landed, crew chief jumped out, saw Dengler's condition, emaciated, covered in mud, barefoot, infected wounds everywhere. Jesus Christ, who are you? Captain Dieter Dengler, Navy, shot down February 11, 1966. The crew chief's face showed shock. February 66? That's over a year ago. You're listed as lost. I'm not gone. And there's another man, Lieutenant Dwayne Martin. He's down by river, unconscious. We need to get him. The helicopter lifted with Dengler aboard, flew to Martin's location. Crew chief rappelled down, checked Martin. He looked up at Dengler and helicopter, shook his head. Martin had succumbed to cardiac failure while Dengler was signaling the helicopter. Starvation, hypothermia, the cumulative effect of 17 months captivity plus 13-day escape. Dengler had stayed with him, honored code of conduct, but Martin didn't make it anyway. The crew chief secured Martin to stretcher. Helicopter lifted both men, headed for Thailand. February 15, 1967, 13:20 hours. Dengler arrived at Nakhon Phanom Air Base, Thailand. Medical examination revealed body weight 98 pounds, lost 59 pounds, severe malnutrition, parasitic infections, fungal infections across 40% of skin, multiple partially healed bone fractures, dental damage from attempted escape through bamboo fence months earlier. Psychological assessment, remarkably stable given circumstances. He was hospitalized for 27 days, received 47 IV fluid bags, gained 19 pounds in first week. On day 3 of hospitalization, intelligence officers debriefed him. They wanted to know about other prisoners. Dengler told them about De Bruin, about the Thai pilots, about the camp's location. CIA launched search operations, found the camp, abandoned, found evidence of eliminations, found 3 shallow graves, found nothing indicating survivors. Of the 6 men who escaped with Dengler, Jean De Bruin, declared missing in action, never found. Family received remains claimed to be his in 1985. DNA testing later proved inconclusive. Status, officially MIA. YC Toh, didn't survive recapture attempt. February 5th. Proset Anuachai, captured. Did not survive captivity beyond February 12th. Prasit Pramsuan, remains found 1998 near Sebanghiang River. Succumbed to injuries during escape. Pisidi Indradat, remains never found. Presumed lost. Dwayne Martin, succumbed February 15th from cardiac failure. Buried with military honors, Arlington National Cemetery. Only Dengler survived. Jean De Bruin's fate remains Vietnam War's most debated mystery. In 1975, Pathet Lao defector reported seeing American prisoner matching De Bruin's description in village near Chinese border. 8 years after escape, CIA investigated, found no evidence. In 1983, different source reported American living in Laos, teaching English in a remote village. Investigation found nothing. In 1985, Laotian government returned remains they claimed were De Bruin. Family accepted them. In 2005, family requested DNA testing. Results? Inconclusive. Could be De Bruin, could be unrelated individual. Did De Bruin perish in jungle February 1967? Or did he survive, integrate into Laotian society, and choose not to return? Dengler believed until his passing in 2001 that De Bruin might have survived. He funded private investigation, found nothing conclusive.
The question remains open. Within 4 months of Dengler's rescue, Joint Personnel Recovery Agency issued new survival training protocols. Document JPRA Directive 17-67, Long-Term Captivity Survival Protocols, dated June 1967. Key changes: modified Code of Conduct interpretation for non-conventional detention. Previous doctrine: absolute non-cooperation with enemy. New doctrine: prisoners in non-monitored camps may use tactical cooperation to acquire survival tools without compromising operational security. Implementation: SERE school now teaches selective disclosure of non-classified information for survival advantage. Physical conditioning emphasis: all aircrew now required to maintain combat-ready physical condition even during captivity. Training includes exercises executable while restrained. Medical officers instructed to teach basic wilderness medicine to aircrews. Escape planning timelines. Previous doctrine: immediate escape attempts encouraged. New doctrine: systematic preparation over months preferred to impulsive attempts. Survival school adds 40-hour block on long-term escape planning in denied territory. Results from 1967 to 1973 Vietnam War conclusion. 1967, 14 American POWs in Laos and Cambodia attempted escape. Result: 3 survived. 21% survival rate. All used Dengler's systematic preparation methods taught in new training. 1968 to 1970, 23 American POWs in Southeast Asia attempted escape. Result: 11 survived. 48% survival rate. 1971 to 1973, 31 American POWs attempted escape. Result: 19 survived. 61% survival rate. The survival rate tripled after Dengler's protocols were integrated into training. JPRA estimated that systematic preparation approach saved 27 American POWs between 1967 and 1973, who would statistically have perished using previous immediate escape doctrine. Dengler's survival principles remain core curriculum at U.S. Air Force Survival School, Fairchild Air Force Base. Week 3, Long-Term Captivity Psychology, based on Dengler's 374-day adaptation. Week 4, Resource Acquisition through Tactical Cooperation, based on Dengler's guard manipulation. Week 5, Escape Planning under Surveillance, based on Dengler's systematic preparation over 4 months. Modern equipment descended from Dengler's case. PR-90 survival radio includes redundant beacon system after Dengler's beacon failed. Improved survival kits now include basic medical supplies and multi-tools after Dengler's experience showed need for improvised tools. Evasion planning software. Pilots now pre-plan escape routes during mission briefing after Dengler proved knowing terrain saved lives. Naval War College study from 1999 estimated impact of Dengler-derived protocols. 27 direct survival attributions, Vietnam War, 1967 to 1973. 14 survival attributions, Gulf War, 1991. 8 survival attributions, Bosnia and Kosovo, 1995 to 1999. 6 survival attributions, Iraq and Afghanistan, 2001 to 2015. Total: 55 American military personnel survived long-term captivity using methods traced to Dengler's case study. Additionally, survival training modifications influenced by Dengler's experience have been adopted by NATO allies. Estimated impact on UK, Canadian, Australian, and German aircrew survival. Additional 30 to 40 personnel, 1967 to 2015. One aspect of Dengler's survival remains disputed. Did his cooperation with captors constitute violation of Code of Conduct? Navy Investigation 1967 cleared him completely, stating tactical disclosure of non-classified information in non-monitored captivity represents justified survival tactic. But some Vietnam POWs from Hanoi Hilton, formerly monitored camps, objected. Their argument: any cooperation sets dangerous precedent that undermines resistance. Air Force Colonel James Kassler, POW 1966 to 1973, testimony to Senate Committee 1992. Dengler's situation was unique. His camp had no oversight, no Red Cross, no international monitoring. Standard rules didn't apply. He did what he had to do. But debate continues. Was Dengler's cooperation necessary, or was there alternative approach that would have maintained absolute non-cooperation while still surviving? Dengler's response when asked in 1989, "I'm alive. My methods worked. Anyone who questions them is welcome to spend 374 days in bamboo stocks and show me better way." Final mystery: why did Pathet Lao report all escapees lost when Dengler clearly survived? Theory 1: guards lied to superiors to avoid punishment for incompetence. Theory 2: CIA classified Dengler's survival for intelligence purposes. Pathet Lao genuinely didn't know he'd been rescued. Theory 3: Pathet Lao knew but filed false report to preserve plausible deniability regarding camp existence. Declassified CIA files don't clarify. The February 1967 rescue was marked classified, intelligence source protection until 2015 release. By then, most Pathet Lao commanders were gone. Why the intense classification? What intelligence source was being protected? What didn't CIA want revealed? Those questions remain unanswered. They called him gone. Pentagon declared him lost in action. His family held memorial service. His newborn son grew up for 12 months believing father was gone forever. They were wrong, not because Dengler was superhuman, not because he had special training or secret knowledge, because he understood something most people don't realize until it's too late. Survival isn't about waiting for rescue. It's about creating conditions where rescue becomes possible. Dengler didn't wait 374 days hoping someone would find him. He spent 374 days building tools, gathering intelligence, conditioning his body, manipulating his captors, systematically preparing for moment when opportunity would arrive. The genius wasn't the escape. The escape was just execution of 11 months of preparation. The genius was recognizing that impossible situations don't require impossible solutions. They require patient, systematic work towards small advantages that accumulate into decisive moment. Most people in impossible situations give up because solution seems too distant. Dengler survived because he didn't think about Thailand 93 miles away. He thought about acquiring knife today, getting extra rice handful this week, learning guard patrol pattern this month. Small advantages accumulated over time until they became survival. Dieter Dengler passed in 2001, age 62, from ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease. His last interview, conducted weeks before his passing. Do I regret Vietnam? No. It taught me what I was capable of. Most people never discover their capacity for endurance because they never face a situation that requires it. I'm grateful I learned mine. I hope I never need it again, but I know it's there. That capacity exists in all of us. Most of us will never need to activate it, but it's worth knowing it's there. If you found this story as remarkable as I did researching it through 200 plus declassified documents, I'd appreciate if you'd like and subscribe. There are hundreds more untold survival stories from Cold War conflicts that deserve to be remembered. Stories of ordinary people discovering extraordinary capacity for endurance. I'll bring you a new one every Tuesday. What should I cover next? The Coast Guard rescue swimmer who saved 89 people during Hurricane Katrina despite being ordered to stand down? Or the Navy SEAL who survived 11 days in Afghanistan mountains with shattered leg after his team didn't make it? Let me know in comments. And if you know someone who needs a reminder of human capacity for survival, share this story with them.